touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it. It's a long year. Maybe just stay calm, do it.
Well, we are underway here, folks, tonight for the Jaguar Motors 150 here at Brands Hatch. The cream of the crop, the cherry on top, the final race of our 4-race weekend here at Brands Hatch race circuit. And it's going to be 150 miles, grand total of 60 laps here at Brands Hatch. Front row belonged to Chaz Chadwick, the half American, half Brit in the field here, alongside the 43 of Taden Bergeron, who has been the star of the show here in 2026, our 16th annual season of the series, and the Biffle tribute season, of course. Rookie back in 2022, Taden Bergeron has been on one this season, so great to see one of the newbies in the field actually putting on some performances week in and week out. And he's established himself as a new guy in the conversation for the title hunt, where we've been seeing drivers like Al Bunch, Atlee Weiss, and a couple other drivers really assert themselves as the favorites. Well, now you can throw Taden Bergeron in that hat as he's up front here tonight, leading laps already at Brands Hatch. Chaz Chadwick, winless for the last 3 years. He is seeking a race win, something fierce. He's got those the tribute number scheme there on the 18, honoring Kyle Busch. Actually, his 18 is reminiscent of the current RCR font that Kyle Busch had raced the last couple seasons. And then in third place, you have Cannon Gage with the Kyle Busch tribute car as well. Then it is Ewan What Army and Wyatt Wilkinson, your top 5. Last week, though, 60 machine here of Jacob Schenkel tied his brother for the all-time wins list. That's been a long time coming, a long time in the works to catch back up. Those two brothers have been back and forth between each other for the all-time wins list. And so Jacob is back, not quite atop the leaderboard yet, but tied with his brother once again. The tie, when they get back to tied, has only lasted anywhere between 1 to 4 weeks. Usually one or the other brother will get another win to assert their top of the leaderboard dominance for the all-time wins list. But this year might be different. I don't know how soon this 60 could get back to victory lane, and we don't know what the 7 has under his sleeve either. Tyler hasn't been to victory lane since 2024, so that's kind of wild too to think about. Tyler Schengel Racing has Craig the Void in the number 0 car, running in 7th at the moment. Snake Plissken right behind that, and then it is Campbell Marsh for Al Bunch Incorporated, and Al Bunch for Kellen Relic Racing, top 10 at the moment. 11th place belongs to the number 41 there of Cooper Dwight, the sensation from the last couple of years, winning in Bridge to Cup and graduating to this Cup Series pretty quickly. Learning curve is a little bit stouter for him, as it's been a struggle to get that car performing for race wins. But on a road course here today, obviously he's got a little bit more prowess at a track such as this. Right behind him you have Rowdy Galloway Jr. there, and then Finlay Herwig. A couple more countrymen here in the top 15. Charging down the long backstretch, he's getting there alongside the 69 of Lynn Farrell. And there is the 30 of Tom Cording right behind that. Also the 95 of Fireball Robert, the 67 of Alex Crowther, 88 of John Hagan, and the 90 of Tasha Wright. Then it is the 85 of Brian DeBlanc, the 64 of Sebastian Torres, the 77 of Preston Kundo, with Luis Rodriguez in the 55, Bradley Ream in the 78, Braden Varga in the 9, Monty Schengel running 27th here with Kara Schengel right behind him. Chris Harvey, Lucas Holmes, that's your top 30. Then it is Tyler Schengel, Chad Hertenstein, Tyler Aspinall, Jimmy Logano, and Eli the Wolf, followed by Louis Trost, Kellen Relic, Kevin Xavier, and Trevor Walker, with Carson Bowers, Brandon Butler II, Rich Roy, Tyler Landa, and Tristan Reams, the rest of the field rounded out there. But no big shocker here. Fastest lap in the race and leader of that is the number 43 of Tayden Bergeron, your points leader at the moment. But the American Brit there in second, Chaz Chadwick. Like I mentioned already, he's going to be seeking to get a race win after it's been such a drawn-out dry spell for this 18 team, not being able to get back to victory lane. He's got his teammates in the mix with it here. The number 1 of Ewan What Army there in the top 5. And even satellite team, the 39 of Wyatt Wilkinson. So it seems like LFG Motorsports and company have rolled into tonight with good equipment for the road courses. This in its own, it feels like a kind of a crossroads, kind of all coming into one here today. A long year in the making to get to this point, and we are finally here. The British Speedfest week has been a success. Some great races. We had a wild one with the ARCA series the first night. Bridge to Cup was pretty exciting with some strategies that changed up the whole trajectory of that race. Bringing it home with the win that night was Ralph Oberstadt, one of our new stars in the Rising. And then, of course, who could forget last night, the feel-good story with Sebastian Galloway Jr. finally knocking it out of the park, getting his first ever career win in Sigma competition. It's definitely been a good week so far, and one more race to get in the books here. We could still see another surprise winner, another feel-good story here tonight with the Cup side of things. So if you're new to the Sigma Racing Series, obviously our caution protocol is a little bit different. We will not throw a full course caution unless we really need to. So typically a single car spin on a road course does not merit a full course caution. But if a car flips, tumbles through the grass or something, then we'll throw a caution. If officials deem there's too much oil down on the racing line, we'll also throw a caution for that. But apart from that, this thing could stay green all the way from lap 0 to 60. So far, 6 laps in the book here at Brands Hatch. 54 laps to go. This one, kind of a sprint, but also very much an endurance on these road courses because you have so many variables working against you. You know, you got a left-hand turn, right-hand turns. You got setups for these cars that you got to dial in, get just right, and then changing weather. You know, as we progress longer into the day, the track conditions change. These drivers all have to adjust to whatever the day throws at them. So Tayton so far this season has 5 wins, looking for more. Halfway through the season, he's on track for about a 10 race win 2026 campaign. But it's kind of hit a wall lately, you know, in more ways than one. He's been in wrecks last couple weeks. He's had race wins taken away from him last moment. So it seems like the bad luck spells kind of hit him on the second half, or at least towards the stretch here leading into the second half. But Tayton can't knock him down, can't keep him down. He's going to fight tooth and nail for this title and put himself in rare air as another new name in the championship window. Well, right now, as things have kind of fallen into a nice, neat little run here from the beginning, 9 laps so far, let us go ahead and take a look at the pit crew notes here today. 40 laps the distance on a fuel run, but we already know from the Bridge to Cup race that that ain't a guarantee. They might stop short at about lap 25. They might stretch it to lap 30. And then after that, they might still go about 15, 20 laps to pit one more time in a 60-lap run here. The Bridge to Cup race itself was 48 laps, so just longer than a fuel run. But here today, I would wager we're going to see at least 2 to 3 windows of pit stops open up here today, as the drivers will try to go off strategy and get creative with their pit stop scenarios here today. Sebastian Galloway Jr. running in the top 15, currently in 12th. Finley, the hometown racer here, running 15th as well. So, but most impressively, LFG Motorsports and Chaz Chadwick, we're seeing a bit of a resurgence here today. We haven't seen this 18 fight up front very much lately, but he's making it look interesting here today. Wow, 43 building a big lead gap here. As you can look and see, the moment a 2.3 now grows it to a 2.55 second advantage in the favor of Tayden Berggren. Tayden has been pretty tough to beat on road courses this year. As you take a gander here at the point standings this season, Tayden Berggren has an 87-point lead over James Fireball Robert. And of the road courses that we've gone to this season, he's had a first, one at Portland, finished 17th at Watkins Glen, and then again he won at Sears Point, which is also known as Sonoma, and the New York Street Circuit that we went to. So he's 3 for 4 on road courses this season. And it's actually kind of frightening for the rest of the field, knowing that Tayden has the road course under belt most times, but strategy, that's the big game whenever you come to these tracks. It doesn't matter how good of a car you have. Sometimes you might have the off strategy that costs you the win. So it's still going to be a full race for Tayden to make the cut here today, but already off to a wonderful start in the 43 car. Yeah, so far, Tayden just building that gap some more. The battle for second, though, could get interesting here as Ken Gage sits in third. He's in an LFG Motorsports sandwich between the 18 and his teammate, the number 1. But a lot racing left to go here. Taden Bergeron slowly growing that race lead even more here today. But Chaz Chadwick might have a few tricks up his sleeve here, and we'll wait and see what pit strategies unfold. But these Hondas looking stout here on the road course, as you have a Honda running second, fourth, and fifth. You have a Chevy leading the race and a Dodge running in third. 44 laps remaining, kind of a follow the leader affair at this track. Not a lot of passing gets done unless folks decide to go off strategy and get the fresher tire advantage. We got a pass for position here, it looks like. 39 and the 60. Jacob Schenkel going the high side of Wyatt Wilkinson to try and take 5th place away. Wilkinson's going to defend. Schenkel falls a little bit behind here, but they're going to drag race down the long back half of the racetrack. The 60's got to run down the hill. Going into the turn, the 60 might be able to secure 5th spot. Still side by side they go. Rolling right together there. The 0 break the void in the mix as well. 60 having to work for it, having to earn it here. The 39's now on the inside line going into the next set of turns after this one. And he's going to be right there, a nose ahead, but the 39's got that preferred line here in the slow turn. Still side by side, drag race down to the front half of the track now. And he secures 5th spot over Wyatt Wilkinson steadily there. Really seems to be the biggest move that we've seen so far here today. Your top 10 have pretty much gone unchanged. Even further back, your top 14 almost as much as unchanged. James Fireball Robert running in 15th at the moment. He's second in the points, and he's going to lose a lot of points to Taden Bergeron today if he can't move up through the field. Monty Schenkel, it's been an up and down kind of season, kind of a checkers or tail of the tracker season. And today's at the tail end of the track once again, running in 29th. Brandon Butler the second, picking up some spots. We saw him back to about 37th. He's all the way up to 32nd now. Wow, Finley undercut. Did he pit or what happened here? He was running in the top 15. Pit stops. Lap 16, John Hagan and Finley Herwig with the Genesis. So evidently the JSR Genesises do not get the greatest of gas mileage, but he's on the undercut and is able to get in and get out pretty quickly here. And that's going to open up the window for more cars to start pitting, taking their pit stops. We'll see. Finley might be onto something here. Just like that, he's 3 seconds a lap faster than your race leader. If he can secure 3 seconds a lap for about 4 to 5 laps here, he would knock 15 seconds off the lead. But the problem with that too is then once the 43 does pit, he'll come in, get fresh tires, and he'll be quicker by that much on the invert side of things. So definitely a two-stopper for the 68 of Finley. And just like that, they're going to stay out here. It's going to get interesting. No more takers on lap 20. Which for that, you know, doing a pit stop at lap 20 and lap 40 would get you all the way to the finish. No doubt. Yeah, just like that, Finley turned his quickest lap in the race, a 1:31.330. And Taden Bergeron's fastest lap was a 1:31.265. Should be interesting for sure. 1:31.445 for John Hagan, his fastest lap of the race. Looks like Chad Hertenstein made his pit stop as well. The leaders are almost in the 1:35 bracket at the moment, so they're almost giving up 4 seconds a lap to those that have already pitted. That could be crucial. You look at it this way too, obviously it could go, you know, it could be a net wash. It doesn't always have to be as big of an advantage as you think, but it does, you know, that's what road coursing, you know, road course racing is so special for, because you never know. You know, that might be a winning strategy on paper, but come to the end of the race here, Finley Herwig just might not have the quickest car on old tires and would still end up losing the race with what one would think was a winning strategy call here today. That's what keeps people tuning in for road course races, because you never know what's going to happen with strategy. And for Finley, you know, it's his home track, so he wants to try and cap it off this week with a win. He has not won any of the races. He ran all 3 of the prior events here at Brands Hatch, and how nice and neat would it be to put the cherry on top and get a win at your home track this year. 1:35.185 for Taden Bergeron, his slowest laps yet still to come here if he doesn't pit soon. What's interesting here is maybe he's trying to get it closer to lap 30 and make this a true one-stop race. I don't know. It could be done, but I highly doubt we're going to see anyone stretch it to lap 30 here today to make their one and only stop. Taden might make a fool of myself, though. Look at that. He's going to stay out. Lap 22 here. We are 8 laps short of the halfway mark. No other takers down pit road either, but there is a change for position there as the number 1 gets by the number 8 of Cannon Gage. Gage loses a spot to Ewan Wood Army, and now it's a 2-3 for LFG Motorsports, Chaz Chadwick and Ewan Wood Army. 60 there of Jacob Schengle, looking to try and secure another win and assert himself atop the list of winningest drivers in Sigma Cup history. Well, the rest of our schedule looks pretty stacked. Next race on the calendar next week will be Gateway, followed by Nashville, Kentucky, and Las Vegas to really round out the July, before the July break. Las Vegas 777 annual on July 7th, Tuesday night, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. But other than that, it's going to be Rookie Raceway, Michigan, Pocono, Daytona to round out the quote-unquote regular season. We do the championship push a little bit different here in the Sigma Cup Series. Double points for the last 12 races of the year. And so once you head to Darlington, that'll be the first, no, Daytona. Night race, Daytona will be the first double points race. Then it's Darlington, California, Riverside, Rockingham, South Boston, Richmond, Lucas Oil Raceway Park in Indianapolis, Kyalami, and then the last 3 races of the year, we have the Music Fest Grand Prix at Texas World Super Speedway, Homestead, the Miami Getaway Annual on November 5th, and we round it all out on Friday the 13th, Indianapolis, Indy 550 style, folks. So here we go. Pit stops happening. Your race leader not able to stretch it to lap 30. Taden Bergeron is pitting here on lap 23. Chaz Chadwick's going to stay out. Chadwick and his teammate Wood Army 1-2 with Cannon Gage running in third. Taden had to pit on lap 23. The one to really keep your eye out on is once these pit stops cycle through, the 68 of Finley Herwig, where he's already been climbing the field in the meanwhile. He's up to 29th after cycling all the way to the back, run on fresh tires, fast laps, and he's held up by a little bit of traffic at the moment. But his lap times have been very impressive. Taden rejoins the racetrack, and he's going to be miles behind Finley Herwig here, your eventual race leader once things shuffle out here. The other folks don't really account for is the lap traffic you're going to have to deal with even with fresh tires. So for Taden Bergeron, even though he shuffles all the way back outside the top 30 here for now, those ahead of him are going to have to pit, but not for long, or not soon. Not soon enough, because that means they'll get to be up front leading some laps here today. Wood Army pits here on lap 24. Chaz Chadwick, he's going to stick his neck out there and continue to stay up front, leading as many laps at the section here that he can. Cooper Dwight will stay out. He's going to inherit second place. Sebastian Torres, a road course winner this year at Watkins Glen, back into the top 5 already on a long green flag run here. Yeah, Finley's about to be the new race leader once your lead trio here make their pit stop. Crazy thing about Finley is he's been leading laps this week, just hasn't been able to close it down. So here today, trying another alternate strategy. Gonna be interesting to see if he can make something of it. Kind of interesting here for Chaz Chadwick. His lap time has dropped all the way down to a 1:36.5. Kind of hurts to go this long on a run, and he's not going to be able to go much further. He's going to pull it down, get his pit stop in on lap 26. As is Cooper Dwight, and Sebastian Torres pits as well. Your new race leader, as he pitted on lap 20, roughly. He's going to be trying to push to about lap 40 to make it on a two-stop race here today. Does not get credited with the lap lead there, but he's up to second. John Hagan in third. Tasha Wright in fourth. Followed by fifth place. Looks like soon to be in the top 10, Chad Hertenstein. Top 5, sixth place. Taden Bergeron's right back into fifth. With fresher tires than your leaders, he'll be trying to reel them in. Well, Finley Herwig, home soil here for him, and he's up front leading. Followed by John Hagan in the 88. Tasha Wright in third. Taden Bergeron led for the first stint here today after pit stops and cycled him back to fourth. Then it is Ewan Wood Army in fifth. Chad Hertenstein in sixth. Cannon Gage running in a solid seventh position here. Jacob Schenkel eighth. Lewis Tross ninth, and Sebastian Galloway Jr. top 10. Craig the Void, Chaz Chadwick, Snake Plissken, and Tom Courtney your top 15, followed by second in the points James Fireball Robert. Kevin Xavier, Lynn Farrell, and Alex Crowther your top 20, with Campbell Marsh, Brian DeBlanc, Cooper Dwight, Al Bunch, Sebastian Torres, and Luis Rodriguez your top 25. Preston Hundo, Braden Varga, Bradley Ream, Tyler Aspinall, and Kara Schenkel your top 30, followed by Chris Harvey, Jimmy Logano, Tyler Shangle, Lucas Holmes, and Trevor Walker, your top 35. Monty Shangle, Brandon Butler II, Kellen Relic, Eli the Wolf, and Carson Bowers, your top 40. 41st belongs to Rich Roy, 42nd Tyler Landa, and 43rd Tristan Reams. But for Finley, we know that he took the undercut, pitted at lap 20. He's going to have to pit again at about lap 40. And he's going to have to hope that everyone else's last stop shuffles him back to the race lead in that last 20-lap stint here today. Very impressive. They took their notes here this week after running the other 3 leagues of racing here and figured out what they needed to do to get in a winning scenario here. High IQ strategy definitely put them in the conversation here today. Taden Berggren started this race and led the entire opening stand of it. 22 laps led by Taden Berggren before he pitted, and 3 laps are now in lead of Finley Herwig. And for him, his marks he's trying to set will be running to lap 40 here. If he makes it to lap 40, he knows that he will be good to go all the way to the finish line here today. For Taden Berggren, lap time's a little bit slower than he would like. He's not reeling in your race leaders as quickly here after the round of green flag pit stops. no big drama through halfway here today. 31 laps in, 29 laps to go. Fastest lap belongs to Tadenberger. A lap speeding around here at 1:31.265. And all 43 cars still out there running, all of which are on the lead lap. Right now, Taden is reeling in the 88 of John Hagan for second place. Finley leading the race. He's going to pit extra early here, lap 31. He's almost on a 4-stop race. 3 stops at least, running it to about lap 15, then lap 30. Man, what a weird strategy call here. We'll see if he makes it all the way to lap 45 before pitting again. Almost, yeah, let's see if it was lap 16. Yep, so 15 laps on each run. And ideally, you can make it on the second half without pitting again, but we'll see. So now that hands the lead on back over. Wow, Sebastian Galloway Jr. up to 5th here. Jacob Schenkel in 4th. Cannon Gage running in 3rd, but move them all up 1 spot, so Cannon Gage will be running in 2nd. No, my bad. The pit stop, they've already credited them with their lap, so they are not 1 spot extra. Tadenberger, your race leader. You and What Army in 2nd, Cannon Gage in 3rd, Jacob Schenkel 4th, Sebastian Galloway Jr. 5th. And it's Craig the Void, Snake Plissken, Chaz Chadwick, Tom Cording, and Fireball Robert, your top 10. Wyatt Wilkinson falls back to 11th. Lynn Farrell in 12th. Alex Crowther, Brian DeBlanc, and Cooper Dwight. Quite a few road coursers in the mix here today. Well, with 26 laps left to go, Tadenberger takes back over at the top spot. We know that he can make it about 23 laps, so he's probably going to be pitting in at about lap 46. And things will shuffle back over to 68 of Finlay Herwig, your race leader. Lap traffic might be a little bit of a factor here, crazy enough. Still no big drama here tonight as everything's going pretty smoothly. Heck, Finlay, even on a standard, off strategy here, he's back up to 23rd. And he might be able to pass everyone under power here. We're going to keep our cameras rolling on Finlay Herwig and see just how many spots he picks up with fresh tires, full tank of gas. This is probably the most unusual strategy call, but it's making it work here today in the 68 team. Slicing and dicing, trying to get a run on both the 9 and the 78. Falls the faster inside line here. The 78 stuck on the high side. Braden Varga just kind of the gatekeeper for now, trying to keep the 68 behind him. Finley's right there on his back bumper. This is getting a bit too close for comfort, as these drivers are just trying to mind their P's and Q's, and then you have someone on fresh rubbers trying to fly by them like Superman here. Well, as you can see, Finley is now under attack here by John Hagan. Those two have been on the same pit strategy here today. But Finley now having to defend against a teammate in the 88. Well, actually, I take that back. My bad. KGA Racing and JSR have an affiliation, but Finley Herwig racing for his own personal team loses a spot to his Genesis rival there of John Hagan. But still in the same kind of power plant, the same realm, you might say, the Genesis 68 and the 88. And now Finley loses a spot to John Hagan, which could be a big game changer here as we push to the finish. Be 22 laps left to go. As we already know, Tayden made it to lap 23 for his first stop. He's going to try to push it to lap 46 for his second and likely last stop here today. Laps left to go. Tayden Bergeron up at the front of the field, and he has led 31 laps here today. His lockdown led most laps in his favor. 3 laps led by Chaz Chadwick and 5 laps led by Finley Herwig, home track race. And so last round of pit stops coming shortly, one would imagine. Tayden Bergeron's got that lead. Quite a big lead over Ewan What Army in second, followed by Cannon Gage in third. It's Jacob Schenkel in fourth. Sebastian Galloway Jr., another home track driver here in fifth. Craig the Void, followed by Chaz Chadwick and Tom Cording. Snake Plissken, your top 10 with James Fireball Robert also there in the top 10. Wyatt Wilkinson in 11th, 12th place Lynn Farrell. 13th, Alex Crowther, followed by Brian DeBlanc in 14th, Cooper Dwight in 15th, Campbell Marsh, Sebastian Torres, John Hagan, and Al Bunch with the 68 there. Finley Herwig in the mix as well. Tasha Wright rounding out your top 21 here. Midfield And these drivers on an alternated strategy, they've already built a big comeback to the lead. 68 of Finley Herwig is currently 29 seconds, and you lose about 34 seconds to 40 seconds on a pit stop here. So Finley and John Hagan, though, they are on the up and up. They might have to pit again at lap 45. We'll see. But then again, your race leaders are going to have to pit the same time. So whatever they've got, they're going to be back to equal footing again. And it might be a kind of a net wash for them on this weird alternate strategy they decide to hustle down. And there you have it, Tayden making his pit stop here at lap 41. Right behind the 71 who pulls out of his pit stall last minute there. Ewan Woodarmy, Cannon Gage, Jacob Shangle. But Sebastian Galloway Jr. is going to stick it out here and stay a little bit longer. Oh, and they're wrecking in the background. This will be a full course caution here, folks. And those were a couple of the drivers that were really in the mix here for the comeback here today. Tyler Landa pulls down right in front of both of them, clamors and connects. John Hagan had a car that was getting back into the mix. He gets run into there by Tyler Landa. Let's see if we can see a different angle here. Finley was trying to get back by John Hagan, and the aggression there throws everyone for a bit of a curveball. Finley gets a hard hit in the outside barrier there. Got to give it to them for being on the aggressive side here, and folks were pulling down pit road to try and make their pit stop. And that 23 dang near got some air there. Let's try to get a different pit angle here. I know that with the caution, it's going to take a while to get back to green, so let's try to find some good angles that we can reference here. Pretty hard hit for those involved here. Well, what a heartbreak. What's interesting here is the strategies that now get thrown into a tailspin. We don't know what's going to be for those that got involved in the wreck here. Finley is going to keep soldiering on. Everyone's going to be a little bit off, kind of off. Wow. Sebastian Galloway Jr., your race leader right now because of the way the caution fell. He probably still needs to pit here, but he'll be able to pit and eliminate, you know, not being able to lose too much ground here. Those that pitted, though, they are going to be trapped deep in the field. Well, I guess Taden didn't have a bad pit stop. He gets back to 8th, but everyone else ahead of him's got to pit. They need to make their pit stop to get to the finish here. But it looks like almost the entire field has to pit, so those that are staying out includes the 4 that had made their pit stop. Sebastian will cycle probably back out to around 5th again where he was at. Taden will re-inherit the race lead here, but those that are pitting are going to have fresher tires by about 3 to 4 laps, so we'll see if that makes a difference on the push here at the end of the race. Can engage in 4th, Snake Plissken 5th, 6th place, Wyatt Wilkinson 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. So for Sebastian, he's going to fall all the way back to 17. Chaz Chadwick in 18. John Hagan's going to rejoin in 27th here. Finlay, heartbreak, man. He's still on pit road getting damages repaired. They ripped off some fenders, and he's going to be at the tail end of the field. So it was looking good, but was not meant to be at the home track. Getting in a wreck knocked him out of contention here today. And you just got to chalk that up to being overly aggressive in a time where you probably could have just laid back, kind of played it easy. They knew that they had the faster cars during that run and put themselves in a bit of a sticky situation. So, you live and you learn, you make some mistakes, and it's on to the next battle for Finlay Herwig and John Hagan. There's a couple drivers still in the mix here tonight to try and fight for the win, earn this battle victory here today. Tate Bergeron's dominated, but Ewan Wood Army, Jacob Schengle, and the likes with Cannon Gage and even Wyatt Wilkinson, your top 5, could still very much steal the show here at Brands Hatch for the Jaguar Motors 150 British Speedfest. 15-lap shootout. Everyone's good to go on gas. There's no question about that. The one caution pretty much puts us in a window to close out the race here tonight. Lights are off on the pace car. And it'll be interesting to see what the folks in the background are able to do with fresher tires. Maybe this could turn into a late race surge from those in the back. Or perhaps things turn to a bit of a wreck fest here as cautions breed cautions, obviously. That could be a factor here at Brands Hatch tonight. Green flag waves, we're back and rolling. Ewan Wood Army gets a stellar jump there on Taden Bergeron. They're going to go rolling into the turn. 3 wide for the race lead. Jacob Schengle goes to the low side. Obviously, highly documented. The tie for the all-time wins list with his brother Tyler. He would like to secure that top spot here tonight at Brands Hatch. 3 wide for the race lead. I don't think anyone had this on their bingo card. You have the one of Ewan Wood Army on the inside line, the preferred line. And that's going to keep things interesting here as Wood Army now almost has a nose on the 43. The 60's got the inside line now going down the long backstretch. Jacob's going to go ahead and secure the lead from Taden Bergeron here briefly, but how long will he be able to hold it? They come rolling into the turn, long winding turns here at this track. Winner at New Hampshire last week. Would love to go back-to-back. That 60. Paying tributes to Kyle Busch, Greg Biffle, and even Grandpa Roman on the 60s. Won at Texas this year. just won at New Hampshire last week. But what about here tonight? Good run, and he's still having to defend on the inside line here with the 43 stuck to the high side. Closes the door. Jacob Schenkel to the top spot here tonight. The shortest window that the two brothers stayed tied as the all-time winning drivers in Sigma Cup history was 1 week. It's been a 1 week window before, and it could be a 1 week window again as Jacob looks to take win number 37 here tonight at Brands Hatch road course here. Taden Berggren's dominated this race, and now he's behind the 8 ball, having to figure out what he needs to do to get that extra speed out of the 43 machine. Meanwhile, Ewan What Army in third. Snake Plissken with a restart of a lifetime there, jumps all the way up to fourth. Running in fifth, it's Wyatt Wilkinson and James Fireball Robert, followed by Cannon Gage, who had a very rough restart there. Went from fourth back to sixth, and he's still losing some spots here. Under attack by the 0 of Craig the Void, 67 of Alex Crowther behind that, and Campbell Marsh, top 10 run. Sebastian's already picked off a couple spots, back up to 15th here. But laps are going to be ticking away, getting away from him if he's not able to make more passes quicker. On the attack here with the 77 of Preston Kundo and the 9 of Braden Varga. That's for 14th and 13th, just ahead of him there. Yeah, huge heartbreak for Finley Herwig, home track hero here. And he's going to end up outside the top 30 if he's not able to get some more spots made up here. We do have a retirement in the race, and that is the 23 of Tyler Landa and the 87 of Kellen Relic. What happened to the 87 of Kellen Relic, I wonder? Oh, wow, just a mechanical failure for the 87. A suspension failure, and that was enough to retire him. That's actually interesting. Interesting. A suspension failure that they could not fix. Obviously, you kind of need your suspension here at the road course, and I figured most teams would actually have a backup, but not for Kellen Relic. Retired out of the race, 43rd. Tyler Landa retired in 42nd. So, and your race leader is the 60 of Jacob Schenkel, looking to try and go back-to-back weeks with a race win. Won it at New Hampshire. This is a track that he has not yet won at, and he would like to secure a win here in the Greg Biffle tribute season. Now with kind of the Kyle Busch tribute honors as well during the races this year. Winning is kind of the one way to cure all. Well, Sebastian Galloway Jr. losing another spot there, falling back to 16th. Ken Gage falls back to 8th, settled into 8th there. But Fireball Robert running 5th. Snake Plissken in fourth, Ewenwood Army in third, with Tatenberger in second, and Jacob Schenkel leading this race with 11 laps left to go. Well, 9 laps left to go here at Brands Hatch British Speedfest. Jaguar Motors 150 here today. And 60 of Jacob Schenkel. Man, we were just talking. I felt like that, you know, the tie between the brothers. Pardon me. I felt like the tie between the brothers would last a little bit longer than this. And yet, the 60 has showed up here today with a fire lit under the car and flying around the track, stealing the show right on the last restart, going 3 wide for the win. It was a battle worth every cent of admission here today to watch the 3-car fight for the lead. It's going to be a memorable win by all means. And, you know, they tied it up June 8th when they raced at New Hampshire, the 2 brothers. And now Jacob will top the board once again as the winningest driver in Sigma Cup history if he can close it out here in the last 9 laps here tonight. Well, let's do another quick through the field glance here as the 60 of Jacob Schenkel leads over the 43 of Taden Berggren. Ewan Wood Army runs in third, Snake Plissken in fourth, and James Fireball Robert your top five. Then it is Wyatt Wilkinson, followed by Craig the Void, running in seventh. Campbell Marsh, Cannon Gage, Alex Crowther, that's your top 10. Followed by Al Bunch, Luis Rodriguez, Cooper Dwight, and Braden Varga, with Sebastian Galloway Jr. striking at the top 15. He's looking to try and get around the 9 team of Braden Varga here for 13. Some folks, that'd be for 14th actually. Braden Varga struggling a little bit, so he's fallen back to 14th from 13th. Cooper Dwight on the rebound. Then you have Tyler Aspinall, Preston Kundo, Lynn Farrell and Sebastian Torres, Chaz Chadwick and Tom Cording, Bradley Ream leading over John Hagan in 23rd, Karen Schenkel and Lucas Holmes, with Brian Blank, Brandon Butler the second, Tyler Schenkel, Monty Schenkel and Chris Harvey, Chad Hurtenstein, Jimmy Logano, Eli the Wolf, and Kevin Xavier. Finlay Herwig, a night of what could have been, had a strategy call that was working him up through the field and just was not meant to be after getting in a wreck 4 wide with a couple other cars, 3 or 4 wide that was, and really wrecked his day here today. Tasha Wright, Tristan Reams, Rich Roy, Trevor Walker. Last car on the field, Louis Trost, 41 cars running. Well, we'll go back into the details on all this because, as I was saying, Jacob Schenkel takes over the all-time wins list if he gets the job done here today. So back when it first started in 2014, when the two brothers were going head-to-head, summer of 2014, Jacob and Tyler spent 2 weeks tied, and then Tyler wins career race number 15 at Charlotte, becomes winningest driver for the first time not named Jacob. Then, following the next couple years down the road, the fall of 2017, Jacob and Tyler spent 1 week tied atop the board at 22 wins apiece. Jacob then goes on to win career race number 23 at Texas, reclaims the all-time wins lead for the second time in his career. But then you had another stretch before the summer of 2019, and then the two brothers were tied. 26 wins apiece. They spent 4 weeks tied. 2019, Tyler wins career race number 27 at Darlington and reclaims the all-time wins lead for his second time ever. This is where it got interesting because Tyler maintained the all-time wins list lead from 2019, September 6th, all the way to 2026, June 8th last week. That was 2,467 days atop the all-time wins list in Sigma history. And if you put that into a bigger perspective, that was 6 years and 9 months without losing the all-time wins list. Longest uninterrupted tenure as a winningest driver ever, and Tyler had it for the second time in his career. Well, it all came back full circle June 8th, 2026, because, the first time it spent 2 weeks tied. Second time they spent 1 week tied. And then, of course, they spent 4 weeks tied the last time. Well, it's another 1 week tie between the two brothers as today marks potentially Jacob's 37th career win, edging out his brother for the all-time wins list on a season that Tyler is struggling. It's been a long, dry spell all since 2024 that he's gotten his last win. And if you put that into a different perspective as well, they've only spent 7 weeks tied as the all-time wins leaders. Well, make that 8 weeks. There's only been 8 weeks out of the Sigma Racing seasons that have been tied up where you had someone sharing the all-time wins list. And no longer with tonight could that have been broken once again. Yeah, Jacob finally caught Tyler during the worst drought of Tyler's career, and it's pretty wild. The funny part is Darlington and Texas keep coming up, and for Jacob, he got a win at Texas this year to start breaking into that all-time wins list. Tyler, it seems like Darlington has been his sweet spot each year, as it's been the change of the all-time wins list put him at the top, and it was actually his last career win was Darlington back on September 13th, 2024. Like I said, Texas is where Jacob reclaimed his all-time wins list lead in 2017, and is where he won his first stint to get him atop the board in 2010. Yeah, and for Tyler, he took the top list September of 2019 at Darlington, and then won his 36th career win at Darlington as well, which is where it sat for the longest time. Two laps left to go here at Brands Hatch, the British Speedfest. Jaguar Motors 150 here. And Jacob Shangle looking to break his brother's tie as the all-time wins leader in Sigma Cup history. Kind of put into perspective, back in 2010 when the series started, there were 2 drivers that won that were not named Jacob Shangle at the beginning of it all. And then winning race 3 and race number 4 in the 2010 campaign, Jacob Shangle took the all-time wins list top of the board back in April of 2010. Well, the rest of the 2010 season played out, and there were no repeat winners that were rivaling him for the all-time wins list. So Jacob held the all-time wins list through 2010, all of 2011, all of 2012, until his brother, building up a resume those last 3 years, put together enough wins to top the board at 2014. Well, Tyler and Jacob, they never stopped winning races completely, so they kept going back and forth, but never truly lost the lead until the next brother got that one step above. So Tyler had the lead in 2014, all of 2015, all of 2016, and then Jacob won enough races to get to the all-time wins list in 2017. We had a driver pull off there, the 43 of Taden Bergeron, pitting on the second to last lap here. Hopefully that is not an indicator of your race leader, as I may have just jinxed the whole race here. Hopefully not. But I'm just going into details on Jacobs and Tyler, their tie amongst the all-time wins list. Jacob takes it back in 2017, keeps it all of 2018, until Tyler takes it back in 2019. But this is where it got kind of weird, because Tyler had built up such a resume at this point and kept winning. Jacob had a couple seasons where he had 0 wins, actually 3 consecutive seasons without a win. And Tyler kept building and building. Well, now we're sitting at a 2-year streak where Tyler has gone winless. And it was all 2020 that Tyler was atop the board. 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. It wasn't until this year, last week, that Jacob Schenkel tied his brother back for the all-time wins list. We got to imagine here, might be sweating bullets on this last lap as Taden Bergeron decided to pit there. Are these cars going to be able to run the fuel all the way to the end here? And we've seen some last lap pit stops all week here. Jacob's going to stay out. Behind him, Ewan Wood Army, as well as Snake Plissken, white flag waving, James Fireball Robert running in 4th. Wyatt Wilkinson looks like he's going to maintain a top 5 run here today. Craig the Void, Campbell Marsh, Al Bunch, Cannon Gage, Luis Rodriguez, Braden Varga, and Sebastian Galloway Jr. up to 12th now. 13th belongs to Preston Kundo, Lynn Farrell, and Tyler Aspinall, your top 15. We're going to have to keep an eye on the lead of the race here and make sure that no fuel mileage is going to factor in to the last lap. As I've already been hyping up, this 60 would take over the top of the leaderboard of the all-time wins list. And in a paint scheme, paying honors and tributes to more than one person. The honors, the tributes, and also paying respects to the lost ones. The 60 car seems to be running a little bit stouter nowadays, getting the win at New Hampshire and leading at the end of the British Speedfest Jaguar Motors 150 here today. Well, here we go. Down for the last couple turns of the race. Your 2015 Sigma Cup champion back in the day has not been anywhere near winning the championship the last couple years, but has runner-up finishes in the championship title last year and a couple years before that. Here he is, coming home with race win number 37 in Britain. The number 60 takes over the top of the all-time wins list, winning here tonight in Brands Hatch, the Jaguar Motors 150. What a wild turn of events here. We didn't really have him in the cards to win this one, but he stole it, earned it, fought for it. Sebastian comes up one spot short of a top 10 here today. 11th for Sebastian Galloway Jr. in that Kyle Busch tribute. Number 54 Toyota Supra, Schenkel Toyota Racing entry. 10th place belongs to Luis Rodriguez. Cannon Gage in 9th. Al Bunch 8th. Campbell Marsh 7th. Craig the Void 6th. Wyatt Wilkinson in 5th. James Fireball Robert in 4th. Snake Plissken in 3rd. Ewan Wood Army 2nd. And Jacob Schenkel, your race winner. Alex Crowther comes in dead last of the cars left running. See where Taden Bergeron shook out after his last late race pit stop. Comes home 33rd. Your points leader is going to burn a lot of his points lead here tonight on a miscalculation with the fuel numbers. That, that's a hard pill to swallow, falling that far back from the evening. Well, another road course win for Jacob Schengle. It's been a while since he's been to victory lane at one of these, but brings it home tonight in the top spot at Brands Hatch for his first ever win at the Britain location here. Quite the night, quite a race, a lot of strategy, and a good finish for all those involved.